11:43. Year 1143. The Last Straw. Rumors are running wild in Anazote. People say that a mysterious clandestine society called the Last Straw holds the entirety of the city's seedy underbelly in its clutches, with men in safe houses all over Anazote plotting and scheming against the nobles and the rulers of the province. Their leader is a woman, a ruthless criminal by the name of Sophia. She has evaded all attempts at capture. The common people both fear the Last Straw and sympathize with their cause. If the rumors are true, the city finally has someone who will stop at nothing to help the people claim their rights. But who would support this secret organization? And how did the insurgents manage to survive this long? No one in the city knows the answers. Magistrate L. Vermin must assuage the people's fears once again. The vile mutineers and heretics who call themselves the Last Straw will be caught and executed very soon. And anyone who has given them money and shelter will meet the same fate. Secret Chancellery will make sure of that. But even facing a manhunt, the Last Straw still endures. Slowly but surely, the influence of this underground organization is spreading throughout the city. We are in misery and devastation for Macra now. Threats and promises. You are in the middle of ascending the city hall's long curved marble staircase. A small man beneath the building's towering vault. You were suddenly visited that night by messengers from Magistrate L. Vermin. They insisted the reason was most urgent. You were already expected upstairs. There is a deafening silence in the lavishly decorated corridors. Your footsteps, the only noise you can hear. Finally, you enter the spacious room that is the office of L. Vermin, a stately official of considerable age. You find him sitting in his comfortable chair of carved wood. He acknowledges your presence with a nod. However, the magistrate is not alone. By the window of the office stands a tall Arcanian. The cape of the Imperial Legion covers his shoulders. He is Dorius Otten, the commander of Magra in the flesh. He does not even bother to turn around and look at you. The magistrate gestures to you formally, beckoning you closer. Judge Brante, you have come at last. Sir Otten has been eagerly awaiting your arrival. You say the commander has learned about a litigation being prepared against him at the prefecture. He demanded that an end be put to these machinations at once, and I humbly offered him my assistance. Slowly, Otten turns to face you. He eyes you with cold contempt. Brante, you again. So you've been chosen to oversee this so-called case against me. I don't envy you. I will be brief. I will not stand idly by in the face of slander and baseless accusations. Give me your word of honor as a nobleman that you will do everything in your power to put a stop to this litigation. Only then will you be free to leave. I will treat any other answer as an insult against my noble lineage. Let it be known that Sir L. Vermin holds many positions, such as the chairman's seat at the Court of Honor, which means that any insult will be soon followed by a legitimate duel of honor. I'm sure you know full well how others have fared in duels against me. Otten turns toward the window before you say anything, as if your answer has already been heard. Magistrate L. Vernon watches Otten and you silently with a mysterious smirk. You stand before the two lords of the city, a young man only recently ennobled by the mantle. Any word that leaves your lips now will affect your fate. Okay, so let's see. I can give Otten my word. Less career, less justice. That's no good. I can't put him at ease because I don't have enough manipulation. And Otten doesn't like me. And I can't seek Sir L. Vermin's protection because he doesn't like me and I don't have any patronage. I can retaliate against Otten, though. Which would result in my death. How far along are we in the timeline? The thing is, I need my justice. I need this man convicted. That is the goal of my career at this point in time. I cannot just step aside. Am I willing to lay down my life for it, though? And I've got... I'd still have a spare. Although it's worth noting, I already have one death. If I get another one, that means I only have one more left for the rest of the game to play with. Because the fourth one is just gone. So you've got 3 that you can do anything with. Oh. It would also gain reputation, which is something my families could use. And it's just one career in justice. That's not that much. Am I really gonna die for that? There's a season to lie low, and a season to stand up. Previously it was our season to lie low. Now is our season to stand. If Autumn challenges you to a duel, a lesser death is certain. Any attempt to avoid it will only delay the inevitable, so it would be best to confront him now. And so, head held high, you place your hand on the hilt of your sword and take a step closer to Autumn. Next comes the words, your words echoing loudly in the stunned silence of the city hall. Indeed, you are the judge in charge of Autumn's case, and you will see it through to the very end. Your duty and your honor demands that you serve the Empire and enforce its laws which apply to all its subjects. Yes, Autumn will surely defeat you in a sacred duel, but the evidence you have gathered against him will see the light nevertheless. You are far from the only judge ready to challenge even the most powerful nobles of the province in the name of the law, and no matter what, justice will find Autumn and strike him down. Autumn is stunned by your verbal assault. For a moment, he remains motionless by the window, his face an azure mask. Slowly, the commander of Magra walks toward you, his heavy, piercing gaze transfixing you. You, a human, dare to threaten me. You calmly meet his eyes in total silence. Then, suddenly, a grimace of rage splits the Arcanian's face. His sword flashes like lightning. You barely have time to draw your own blade. The clanging of swords cuts through the stunned silence of the city hall. Autumn lets out a torrent of strikes in an attempt to overwhelm you. Again and again, you barely deflect them. The Arcanian's command of the blade is impeccable. You cannot possibly stand your ground against him for long. You cannot find even a single opening to strike back as Autumn's fierce assault drives you toward the window. A commanding voice calls out from the other side of the office. Sir Autumn, what do you think you're doing? For a moment, Autumn stops. This is your chance. You prepare to strike him down as quickly as you can. But the commander of Magra notices your movement. He steps to the side and runs you through with his sword. A cold wave washes over you as the steel enters the body. You slowly collapse onto the marble floor, barely able to move. Autumn stands tall over you, panting with rage. Sir, Autumn, what have you done? Is this no honorable, noble duel? Is a murder in the heart of the city hall? In front of the chairman of the court of honor, no less. I insist that you leave Brante alone from now on. One death is enough for him. Having caught his breath, Autumn slowly wipes his sword and sheaths it again. You forget yourself, El Vermin. You're as much a human as he is. Still, what you say makes sense. This judge doesn't deserve my wrath, but he ever tries to tarnish the name of Autumn again. You lie prone at the feet of your murderer, your hands clutching at the wound in your chest. A tiny speck of red on your white dress shirt. Black clouds your vision. Your final thoughts freeze and slowly disintegrate as you leave your dead body and head for the glimmering white high above. Second death. Impenetrable darkness surrounds you. You stand alone, bare to your very essence. It paralyzes you. You have an urge to cover yourself, to hide. No one should see you so vulnerable, but you cannot conceal the truth in this place. You are bathed in an unbearably bright light. It has no hint of warmth in it. It is blinding. It leaves no shadows in the entire world. It is the light of the shining pillar itself. In this radiance, you can clearly see all your thoughts and doubts, your errors and transgressions, the contradictions that have permeated you since birth. They cover you from head to toe like rough, grey tatters. But they melt away in this light. You are naked. You feel liberated and whole. It is as though all the wounds and cracks in your soul have been healed, making it the way it should be. It is as though the scales have fallen from your eyes. You see the true shapes of things now. These are the laws by which the world abides, the grand design that moves life itself. You tread a path that is barely visible in the blinding light, giving shape to everything. In this light you see the infinite complexity of the world, from the tiniest leaf to the enormity of the empire, and this world maintains its balance by virtue of the law that was embedded in it during the act of creation. Ahead of you, 2 figures are waiting on the path. They are gigantic, many times taller than man. The elder holds a lash, the younger a sword. The younger gazes at you sternly, coldly. You kneel obediently before him and lower your head. The god raises his sword above you. This is divine retribution. There is no law without it, nor can there be. Every action has consequences. This is what shapes the world, making its very existence possible. In this moment, beneath the gaze of the merciless god, you comprehend the law that binds the entire world together. Which manifestation of the law will you live by? See, the empire, the lot, family, cause, yourself. You are in the embodiment of the law. I am the law! Against the law. Yeah, I'm going to actually go with cause. Your life's work shapes the world, and thus you influence the great law itself. It's kind of like what you do matters sort of thing. And that if you work for it, you can create the law and make a more just world. Which I think it's honestly kind of what we're going for with this whole thing. What we literally just died for. The blade flashes. The younger's sword slashes through the air above your head. You do not yet deserve your final punishment. The law demands that you continue your life. Your form has not been completely destroyed, nor has that of the world. The younger extends his gigantic hand and shows you the way. You must proceed. The path leads you to the top of the crown of the silver tree, spread wide in the white gleam. The branches are close now. It is time to descend. You are drawn downward into darkness. The shadows that had disappeared in the blinding glow creep around you and envelop you. This is to be expected, but the purity and clarity of spirit are still with you. Something is forcing your throat open. Air. It scratches you on the inside. Your soul is filled with struggle again, with the contractions from which the fabric of this world and you yourself are woven. The divine light that gave you clarity is fading away with each passing moment. You have to open your eyes. Above you is the dark ceiling of the crypt. You are reborn. You come to your senses atop the stone slab of your family crypt. For a while you do not move, slowly getting acquainted with your body born anew. Your mother's somber silhouette stands above you, bowed in prayer. You hear her quiet, meek voice, just as you did as a child. At last, you're back with us, Brian. My son. It pains me so much to watch you sacrifice yourself. So, all for the sake of your trade and your honor. You have 4 lives in this world by the twins' grace, each a precious gift. You've cast away the lowly lot of suffering, so I beg you, do not seek it anew. Steer clear of pain and wounds and death. Your father appears in the doorway of the crypt. He comes closer and bows to you respectfully. Son, the entire city is talking about you and your sword fight with Autumn. Even the highest aristocracy believes the commander of Magua deserves all the blame for assaulting you without challenging you to a duel. While you acted like a true nobleman and defended the honor of the Brante name, you suffered a lesser death through no fault of your own. You leave the family crypt with a heavy heart. You have resisted Autumn. You will not be clashing with you directly anytime soon. but his sword will continue to loom over you until this case comes to an end. And you know what? In kind of like a 5D chess sort of way, did I not just, in great, grand, well-publicized fashion, demonstrate exactly why this man needs to be behind bars? Yeah, kill me. But show the world who you are, and just why I needed to die to get in your way in the first place. Okay, well, I've died twice. Got more valor. Getting close to being battle-hardened. Nobleman's honor. Otten's case still looms over you, a burden and a threat. As the strife between the estates grows more bitter, the judge's trade grows tougher by the day. The commoners demand more rights and legal protections. The nobles do their best to push back. As things stand right now, any verdict made in court may result in upheaval in the province, and possibly determine the outcome of your case against Otten. One day, in a park by the Falaise estate, favored by dueling Anazote nobles, you see a curly-haired young man lying prone in the small sunlit square. His body has been pierced by a sword, and it has not vanished. A true death. You are here to investigate a report of an illegal duel. The winner is still here, a slender middle-aged noble in an elegant black jacket, his hand still on the hilt of his sword, surrounded by gendarmes. Your orders, Your Honor? Sir El Corvillo will not submit on his own, and we wouldn't dare use force against him. You sign for the gendarmes to lower their weapons and approach the duelist. El Corvillo's eyes widen, and his face comes to life when he notices you. Before you can ask him, the nobleman begins to speak, far louder than necessary. It was a duel sanctioned by the court of honor. That is all. The late Sir Meleste questioned my loyalty to the Empire and called me an apostate. He left me no other choice, but to defend my honor. And now, he's dead. Please be quick with your verdict, Sir Judge. I'm expected at the Capitol. You do know who I am, don't you? Before you can say a single word, a carriage bearing the crest of Magistrate L. Vermin rolls through the gates. The magistrate furrows his silvery brow as he looks at the sorrowful scene, then gestures politely for El Corvillo to approach his carriage. With a chuckle, the duelist walks through the lines of gendarmes and leans on the carriage. Meanwhile, the magistrate takes you aside for a moment. Brante, as you know, I'm the chairman of our city's court of honor. I refused to sanction this duel for as long as I could, since true death was on the line, but Alan El Corvillo insisted that denying him would spell trouble for the city of Anazote. Regrettably, he's a small yet important person in the Emperor's courts. He used to command the Emperor's personal guard. I realize that you must mete out justice as your duty demands, but remember, duels of honor are one of the cornerstones of imperial tradition, one of the pillars that supports the twins' divine vision for the Empire. You have the authority to punish El Corvillo, but be careful. You might make a dangerous enemy, both for yourself and for all the nobles of Anazote. That fool El Est didn't know this, and now he's lying there before us. It would be wise to not repeat his mistake. The magistrate of Anazote glances around, then continues in a hushed tone. Brante, the situation is far from ordinary. If the fate of your city means anything to you, it would be best to let El Corvillo go without a trial. Anazote doesn't need any trouble from the capital, and El Estes are not as strong as they used to be. They'll get through it. You may fine him if you wish. El Corvillo will pay it and move on, and justice will be done, at least to some extent. However, if you diffuse the matter entirely, you'll earn favor with all the aristocracy of Anazote, and I'll personally see to it you get a swift promotion. Deep in thought, you gaze upon the body of the dead duelist, and the long shadow of El Corvillo. The decision you are about to make could influence all future duels in the province, as well as your own standing. Alright, so, I can't legalize duels, unfortunately, because I don't have the career stuff, and I've got a promise with Elbon. So I could fine him, get some career, lose some justice, that's problematic. I'd get diplomacy and willpower. I could sentence El Corveo to capital punishment. I lose some career, get some justice, and get some wealth. Conditions met. Oh, I see. Because Octavia likes me. My elite patronage allows me to have the murderer prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Wonderful. Because I've got friends in high places, so I can get away with this sort of stuff. Or I could pronounce the court of honor illegal. Wow. That would certainly help with my justice. That might be a touch far. And it would put my career basically just toss it straight into the gutter. Which doesn't seem like it would be great. I think the appropriate action here is we are to sentence El Corveo to capital punishment. I mean, think about it. I'm trying to prosecute someone for illegal duels right now. I can't all of a sudden start going soft on them. I must get Autumn behind bars, and this is the stepping stone to set the precedent to make that happen. You shake your head dispassionately. Enunciating every word with perfect precision, you explain the situation to El Vermin. A murder in a duel is still a murder, and the punishment for murder is execution. You don't have the right to distort the law. The magistrate's face falls in surprise. Franz, you don't seem to realize how the world works. I just told you El Corveo plays an important role in the Emperor's court. Are you really so eager to make enemies? Well, you're about to. No connections will protect you if you're so intent upon trampling ancient noble traditions. It seems El Vermin is not aware that you have friends in very high places. You tell him, in turn, the Archduke's family will readily side with you. The magistrate dashes to El Corveo, fuming with rage at your words. And, I do actually kind of like this, because it's a funny thing. Because El Born and his whole thing is, like, he's loyal to, I think, the, not the magistrate, the, like, Imperial Overseer? The Overseer? Because that's, like, his boss. Whereas the reason I can do this, which helps to further that goal over there, is because I'm close to a member of the Archduke's family. Which, it's interesting, these webs we weave. Sir El Corveo, this is a terrible misunderstanding. I'll do everything I can to right this wrong. But these good sirs mean to have you arrested. You give the gendarmes a firm order. Seize the murderer's sword, shackle him, and take him to the prefecture. You dare to call me a murderer? Does anyone in your filthy, decrepit province know the meaning of a duel? El Corveo draws his sword and assumes a defensive stance, startling the gendarmes with such a fervent refusal to comply. You start giving commands to the gendarmes. Following your orders, they manage to surround and disarm Corveo. You head for the prefecture to take care of the paperwork and send a message to Octavia. You ask your powerful benefactress to convince the aristocracy to side with you in ordering the death penalty for El Corveo. He is a complete outsider in Maggie, right? Who happened to murder the heir to the ancient bloodline of the El Este. Surely, Octavia can aid her humble servant in such a trifling matter. Her reply takes almost no time to arrive. El Corveo is a staunch follower of the Tempest and the new Overseer. This puts him at great odds with my father. Removing him will be easy, especially if you have a proper case against him. Rest assured, Brian, the Melanidas dynasty will side with you in this trial. As for the other nobles, have no fear. I will let no harm come to you, my dearest human. El Corveo's trial comes and goes incredibly quickly. The seats at the courtroom are absolutely empty. No noble risks appearing in defense of the visitors from Eterna and attracting the displeasure of Archduke Melanidas. One by one, you present evidence of El Corveo's guilt. The ill-fated noble visitor coldly spits out threats in return. The Board of Justice, presided over by El Born, makes its final judgments. Sending a noble to the hereafter is never easy. But there are times when the court has no other way to instill respect for imperial law among those of the noble estates. Sir Alcovia, we hereby sentence you to true death by decapitation. The sentence will be carried out in Majesty Square tomorrow. Alcovia is silent, unwilling to believe in what just happened. But the verdict has been made. Alcovia is taken to the dungeon, the shackles still on his wrists. Tomorrow the city of Anazote will, for the first time, witness a noble being executed for a duel. The aristocracy of Anazote is indignant over your decision. They fear what might come next, and yet Alcovio's shameful end on the executioner's block goes seemingly unnoticed in the capital. Soon rumors begin to spread. Some say the beheaded nobleman was indeed a traitor to the crown. Why else would the Emperor's court ignore the beheading entirely? Or was it all the handiwork of Archduke Melanidas himself? Soon after the execution, something arrives on your doorstep. A small yet hefty chest with a note attached. Sir Brante, we realize how difficult it must have been for you to deliver this strict yet righteous verdict. We mourn the loss of our son, who transgressed against the laws forbidding all duels. Yet justice has found his murderer thanks to you. Please accept this humble gift as a token of our gratitude. Sir Constance L. Est and Lady Margaret L. Est. Alright, our justice has gotten up to level 8. Commoners are protected. And we're in affluence. We're affluent now. Ain't that something?